Hey, what's up guys? Michael here along with Ashley. We are just getting off the water out of Racine, Lake Michigan for the Fall King run, and it was a good morning. We've got a couple fish here, many more are in the bag, but we want to go ahead and take a moment to show you guys how we fillet our fish here and kind of go through a couple of things. Ashley, you're from the Pacific Northwest. You guys clean your fish a little bit different than maybe say we do here. So we're gonna kind of show you the two differences with that, and then we'll take a look at the meats between both fish and then talk about, you know, is it edible or not, what to look for. And so we're gonna jump into this. You ready?
Let's do it.
All right, cool. So I'm gonna go ahead and just fillet my fish. Now when you catch your fish, highly advised for that quality of meat to bleed out your fish. I know you guys out there bonk them. Whatever you're gonna do, a lot of times you're gonna go in underneath their gills here and slice down in there, and then you're going to bleed the fish out, and that's going to help to preserve as much of that meat quality as possible, get the blood out of the fish. Throw it on ice in a cooler bag on your kayak, and go about your fishing trip. And then we come back to cleaning station here, and we're going to go ahead and cut into the fish. So the way I go about this, I'll pull back the fin right here, a little bit of angle. I'm going to cut down into it, make one cut, very slippery. Then I like to flip the fish around the other side. Gonna do the same thing on the other side here. And we're using this bubble blade, which is amazingly sharp. So make sure you guys are safe with your knives here. Then I'll go down across. I'm gonna cut across here. I'm gonna get all this out. Now, I'm gonna complete the rest of this cut here. And you're just gonna ride the spine to get as much of the meat off of the bones as possible here, so you don't waste anything. All the way down to the end. And we're gonna take a look here and see what we got for meat quality. It's so slippery. And we'll flop that over there. And there's our first cut. Get this here. And the meat quality ain't too bad. You see, it's kind of like an off pink color. There's a little bit of whitening in here, but this is still edible in my opinion here. So we're gonna flip the fish to the other side. By the way, this is a male. You can see the milk sac in here. So we'll flip this around. Just gonna do the same thing on the other side. Just gonna ride that spine all the way down to the tail, lift up. Take this other slab of meat off here. I'll lay that out right there. Now at this point, I'm gonna push this fish off to the side here before we dispose of it. And then at this point, you could just go ahead and clean up your fillet here. So we'll take a little bit of the rib cage that kind of stuck here, just trim just against it ever so gently so you don't cut into the meat. Take that out there. Trim a little bit here, I'll take a little bit off there and cut down here. There's your full fillet here. So that is essentially how I do it. And so Ash, let's see how
pass
you're
the
gonna,
knife.
yeah, pass
I
the
appreciate
knife.
it.
Go ahead and do your thing here.
So generally when I'm out in the rivers, I'm cleaning my fish before I take them home and fillet them. So I thought I would show a little bit of how I do that. So first of all, we do have a nice buck here. And one way you can tell really easily is the head shape on these guys. They kind of get a big round shape if they're hens. They kind of have this more pointed shape if they're males. So that's one easy way to tell. And then just to look under them as well. So we've got a really deep V here that indicates that this is also a buck, and you'll see that a little bit differently on the hen. So this is actually where I start when I'm cleaning a fish, is I get right in this V that you see on the bottom of the fish's mouth, and I just cut down along the cheek. So I just follow that V, and it kind of acts as a guide. And the reason why I'm doing this is because I'm actually gonna go ahead and gill this fish. I'm gonna take the gills right out of it. And usually I do that when I'm on the river. I let it bleed a little bit, I take the gills out because they hold so much blood. And when you can get rid of anything that holds blood, you're really doing yourself a service for preserving the meat the best that you can. So I get this kind of pulled out here. Thanks, Michael, for the assist. We are slippery.
Yeah, it is.
And then I just kind of hang on to all of this. Make a few little slices in there if you want to get the rest of it out, but getting some of this out will preserve some of that meat for you. You can see how even bleeding this fish, there's just so much blood just trapped up in the gills from it trying to bleed out, and getting it out is helpful. There you go, Michael. Just
Oh,
kidding.
good.
And then from there, once I have those gills ripped out, I cut all the way along the belly, all the way up, and I can open the fish up. And once I have the gills out, I can just kind of reach down, and all of these guts will just kind of fall away out of the fish like this. You don't have to sit here and rip and tear and pull. They all just kind of fall out. And then you can take your knife, and this is the bloodline. You just follow the tip of the knife along the bloodline, and then you can use the bottom of your knife to kind of work some more of this blood out. Now you can see blood has worked its way into the fish meat here. You can actually use your knife and push that back down. Again, getting rid of blood is just gonna give you a really nice, clean fillet. It's really good to do. Here you go, Michael. Sorry.
When did I become the gut man?
So I'm going to give him a nice little rinse here.
You know, one thing, you know, last year we had a trip out to the Pacific Northwest,
Yeah.
Old Town. We had a great time.
That was so fun.
And it was cool because seeing how you guys take care of your fish, and then I feel like such a barbarian, we just fillet them off and don't do all of this. So there's so many different ways to go about it, though.
There really are. And I think the most important things to keep in mind when you are catching fish is the best thing you can do is get blood out of it, get it on ice, ASAP. Wouldn't you say that icing and bleeding is kind of tops there?
Yeah, at minimum.
At the minimum, yeah, for sure. Okay, and much like Michael, I flip the fish around to where the spine or the dorsal fin side is to me. I lift up this pectoral fin and I make a slice straight down until I feel the spine. And as soon as I feel the spine with that knife, I go ahead and rotate it and I run the knife all the way along the spine, just like we saw Michael do. Always cut away from you, pushing away from you, and never towards you. And even though you want to steady the fish by grabbing it by the tail, you're cutting down that way. So still, just keep your hand behind that blade. My favorite part of the fish is always the tail. So I was taught to go all the way down to where it touches the fin and get all of that goodness. And then once you're there, cut up, you're out of it. The meat's pink, which is great. Again, you know, this fish is kind of towards the end of its cycle, I guess. So in the Northwest, I would say it's getting close to spawn, which is kind of what they're doing out here as well. So to me, I would love to like cook this fish up for dinner. Like this would be a good fish to kind of marinate and get some flavor into. The other option here is smoking. So a fish like this would be a fantastic smoking fish. So like Michael, I would clean this up. I would take some of the rib bones out, but I'm gonna go ahead and move on over to the next part of the fish. Flipping it over under the pectoral fin, slice straight down to the spine, rotate and cut down along the spine, moving my hand to the other side of the blade, cutting away. My fillet is running away.
Yeah. Very slimy.
Very slimy.
The great thing is both of these fish cut nicely, and you know, these males tend to come in for us a little bit sooner than the females will. And so they're in that warmer water, which is why they start turning so quickly. And so it's nice to see that that meat is still good.
And it's still firm, which is great.
Yeah.
I mean, color is often a great indicator of whether you have good salmon meat or not. Don't get me wrong, but color can also fool you. Firmness is, I think, a better indicator of whether you have like quality meat or not, because some fish just don't. Some fish are just more colorful than others. What can you say?
Yeah. So if you push your finger, and the real easy way to tell is when you get the meat, you get the slab out, you just push your finger into the meat, you know, with some pressure. If that meat starts to just fold underneath that slight pressure, it's mushy. It doesn't matter the color at that point. It's you know, if it's a female, take the eggs and use it for skein, and otherwise there's not much, you know. But it can be white, and if it's firm, that's great. You can smoke that as well. It's probably the best option in my opinion.
Yeah. When it comes close to fall, I mean, generally you've maybe caught a couple of spring fish or summer fish. You've got your dinner fish packed up in the freezer, and then you can start looking for the fish that you're gonna smoke and ride it out through the winter.
Right.
That's my plan anyway. So like Michael, I'm gonna go ahead and clean this fish up, and then we're gonna have our fillets, and that's kind of how I do it. Is there anything that you see that's drastically different here, Michael?
Just the initial part.
Cleaning them.
But what I will say is when we were out your way for that and the fish were, cleaned that way, maybe it was partly the fish, but I did taste like, it just tasted different, like in a better way. Like it was just.
And those fish are also spending time in the salt, which makes a big difference.
Yeah. Now, do you do the collars?
I do. I do like doing the collars.
I haven't done the collars yet. I don't know what I'm waiting for.
So if you're gonna do the collars, you just keep what you had. Spine comes off. You can usually make an incision, twist, and then if you've kind of done that technique of removing this, cut it from here. And then you can twist this too, or try to break it. And once you get a little break, cut it through.
And that's the
clean it up.
And that's the whole section, huh?
And then you have that section. Now this can go like straight onto the grill, seasoned, and it's really nice actually.
I'll have to take this with me. Thank you very much.
Yes, you're very welcome.
If you compare it to some of the fish from back home in terms of like when you look at it, I mean, there's some blood on here, but just look at like the fat content in there, when you look at the meat, what do you think about it in comparison?
I mean, it's still a Pacific salmon, right? Like it's the same species, same strain. The only difference is they're eating a little bit of different things, and this salmon hasn't had the benefit of going out to the salt to eat, just to have like a different diet.
Yeah.
So I think to me, it's also a fall fish, so it's hard to tell. Like it's not the firmest, but it's also like not just Sometimes you cut them open, they're just total mush, and you're like, all right, this is a full smoked fish. Right?
Yeah, for sure. Well, that is how each of us cleans our fish, what to look for, how to take care of your salmon if you're out on anywhere really where you can catch salmon, whether it's the Great Lakes or out in the PNW. And hopefully you guys found this interesting and useful. I don't know about you, but I'm kind of ready to throw some stuff out on the grill, maybe smoke some stuff.
I'm hungry. This is work.
Yeah.
Now it's time to feast.
And then we got to fish again. Good job.